Well, hello everyone. Well, this is going to be a demonstration on double digging, and this is kind of a mock demonstration. This is a section of our garden that's already been double dug. I don't have specifically any area at this point that I need to double dig, but I felt that I needed to show you, those that are very visual like I am, just exactly how I go about doing this. Double digging is so important, and the reason why is your plant's roots want to go deep. If they can go deep, they're going to find moisture, more nutrients. There's so many advantages to double digging. I may do a separate video actually, so I don't get this too long, on why double dig. But you know, this method of loosening the hard pan that tends to be under the topsoil is super important. So to get started, what I do is I decide what size bed I'm going to have, and I'm doing a 6-foot wide bed. So I've got corner stakes 6 foot apart, and I run them down the bed as far as the bed's going to be, and I make it 6 foot wide all the way down there. And what I tend to do is, if you see this digging spade in that crack there, I tend to take and put my digging spade along the string and just make a cut in the soil all the way down the string. That way, while I'm double digging, I can take that string down and I don't need to have the string in place, so I'm not tripping over it. So you can see, like here, just goes right down the string. So I could take the string down and I would be fine at this point. And what you do to start is you take your digging spade and you dig a trench, and you dig that trench about, well, the depth of your topsoil. You don't want to bring up subsoil. So you take out your topsoil and you put it in buckets. I like to put them in buckets. Some people will put it in a wheelbarrow. And once that topsoil is removed from that trench, then you take this digging fork and you insert the digging fork into the subsoil, and you just pull back and lift, kind of like what we do at the U-bar. And you just work your way back about every 6 inches or so, just heading back down that trench. This is the traditional double dig. And after you've loosened that trench with that fork, then what you do is you grab your spade again and you take the topsoil on another trench and you dig another trench right next to this one, and you take that topsoil and you lay it on top of this open trench that has the subsoil loosened. Now you've opened another trench. You're going to take the digging fork and you're going to lift that soil going down that trench, and you're going to proceed like that all the way down the bed. And what's going to happen is, at the other end of the bed, you're going to come to a place where you're at the end and you have an open trench. Then you're going to come back here, you're going to grab your buckets, you're going to take them down there, and you're going to dump the soil in that last trench. And that is how to perform your standard double dig. Now, what I do, and this is kind of the Rolls Royce of double digging, you could actually call it triple digging. I actually open up a 2 foot wide trench, and I take my 18-inch U-bar and I actually loosen the soil another 18 inches down. So rather than just the length of the tine on that digging fork, I've got the full 18 inches on that U-bar. So this takes more work. I've got 3 times as many buckets of soil out here, but I'm going another 50% deeper basically than I would be able to with just the digging fork. Now, if you're in a really bad hard pan situation, you're not going to want to try to insert that 18-inch tine all the way down in initially. You're going to want to start at the beginning here, insert it halfway, pull back, and probably do the whole trench, the 9 inches deep, then bring it back up here again, try to insert the whole way, and then pull back. So you might have, if your soil's really bad, you might have to do multiple lifts going through the trench in order to do it. But the benefits of having loosened that subsoil are amazing. So with this, then I've got to take, and a lot of times I'll take that U-bar and set it up there on the path over there by the potatoes, and I'll kind of mark visually how wide of a trench I need. I take all the soil out of another 2-foot wide trench, and I'm going to place it on top of this trench after all that soil's been loosened. And then I'm going to loosen that next trench with the U-bar, and I'll just work my way down the bed as I go. And at the very end, I'll have a 2-foot trench open. I'll need to bring all these buckets all the way down to the other end of the bed and deposit them in that last trench that's open. Now there's one more thing I want to mention to you that John Jevons taught me. John, who probably has taught more people to double dig than anyone on the planet, he mentioned to me one time about doing a textured double dig. And what that is when you're digging and you're to your subsoil here, they're actually taking amendments, compost and amendments, and they're actually amending the subsoil. So before you take and put the next trench of soil on top of the subsoil, they're actually giving amendments to this. And they put those amendments on before they fork it. That way, the forking action allows some of the amendments to trickle down into that subsoil. Now, one thing I would add to that, this isn't something John said, but this is a thought that I've had, is this would be a prime opportunity to take what I would call like a carbon diaper and maybe put biochar, pre-inoculated biochar, a layer of it on top of the subsoil here. And what that would do is in the early years of your soil formation, where you're tending to lose minerals and your compost tea from your compost you've put on and stuff that's leaching down through the soil, having that layer of carbon down there, especially biochar, would kind of filter and grab and hold on to some of that leaching that tends to take place and reserve those nutrients for the plants when they need them. So that's just another thought for you to consider. Well, I hope this is a blessing. I think that, if you have a U-bar, you'd certainly want to consider doing the triple dig. And if you're capable of doing it, it certainly is the very best method I've found. But even if all you're able to do, and that's not, if all you're able to do, but a regular double dig is not like it's some inferior thing. Double digging itself is wonderful. I mean, for years, most of my beds actually would have been just double dug. Now, after years of growing in them and having the roots penetrate the soil's loose, way deeper than even that triple dig is going to do. But this will give you some thoughts, some things to consider, and I hope it was a blessing to you. I'd love to hear some of your comments. Don't be afraid to get discussions going down in the comments. I'd really love to hear your thoughts and hear what's on your mind. So you take care. God bless. Bye-bye.